Good morning to everybody, and we'd like to welcome you here to the City of Edinburgh and our hurricane preparedness press conference. We have my name is Sean Snyder, and I'm the Fire Chief and Emergency Management Coordinator for the City of Edinburgh, and we'd like to welcome everybody here today to hear what it is the city has in reference to preparation for hurricanes. But furthermore, we would like to take this time to remember all the people that have lost their lives here in most recent times with disasters in and around the state of Texas, as well as the United States, and keep them in our minds and our prayers while we do our daily task, as well as the rescuers and the city officials, county officials, and state officials that serve the communities every day to provide as safe as possible environment for our citizens to live in. With that in mind, this is the kickoff for hurricane season, and we're speaking on the eve of already having a tropical event that's coming in and around into the Gulf of Mexico. So, what more fitting than to have us greet the beginning of hurricane season than with a storm that's already starting to formulate and cross into our area. One of the things that we're going to do today is, instead of just listening to me talk about preparedness here in the City of Edinburgh, is that we've established a panel of individuals that we have collaborated with in a regional effort, not only with the city, the county, and the state, to let you know what it is that we do. And we don't just do this from June through October, but we do this every day, is prepare ourselves, prepare our entities for all hazards approach, which includes hurricane response. With that in mind, we're going to start out with a message from our Congressman Filemon Vela, Jr., in talking about preparedness.
We've seen a lot of tragedy in this country just over the last 3 months, most recently the tornadoes in Oklahoma, and the devastation that we see there kind of reminds us that to the extent we can get ready or get hurricane ready, that the sooner you start thinking about it, the better. The more prepared you are. In the event we're unfortunate enough to have a hurricane hit, we want to make sure people are ready.
Okay, thank you very much, Congressman Filemon Vela. And now we would like to go ahead and have our welcome by our council member, Elias Longoria, Jr. from the City of Edinburgh.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I want to especially welcome all of our partners that are here with us today, the DPS, the county, the state, everyone that is participating in this event. Because of your experience in your line of work, you know more than anyone exactly how important all of this is. All of us here in Edinburgh are very glad to spread this message to the entire county and not just to Edinburgh itself. As we've witnessed recently in the areas of West Texas and Moore, Oklahoma, major catastrophes do happen. And that's why we're here today, to remind everyone that being prepared can make the difference between life and death. Especially when it comes to hurricanes, tornadoes, and explosions, we have time to prepare. If you haven't already taken steps to protect your family and your homes, now's the time to do so. You need to have a plan of action, be prepared. Are you staying or are you leaving town? Prepare a supply kit of food, water, battery-powered radio. Gather all important documents with you and get your doctor's information and prescriptions that need to be filled, transferred, and be prepared to leave town immediately. The City of Edinburgh and all its employees are ready. We have a plan, and our employees are committed to keeping you safe and the city running. However, none of this helps if you don't do your part. You and you alone can prepare your family and your property. Tell us more about what can happen in doing our actions and lack of can have a major impact on the rest of the city. Please welcome now our Solid Waste Director, Ramiro Gomez, and our Public Works Director, Ponciano Longoria, from the Police Department, also Chad Duffner. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ramiro Gomez. I'm the Director of Solid Waste for the City of Edinburgh. And I would like to reiterate the statements made by our chief and our city council member and take this opportunity to remind our residents that hurricane preparation is a year-round event. The City of Edinburgh currently offers convenient curbside service for your bulk items and yard trimmings on a collection of once every 5 weeks, and highly encourage our residents to utilize the service. But while we do offer these services, we would like to also notify and let our residents know that we do offer an alternative option for them. While the city does own its own landfill, our residents can utilize the landfill to take these items to the landfill and dispose of them themselves at their convenience. We would also like to notify our residents that as this hurricane season starts to ramp up, the department is currently ramping up its operations and is currently conducting citywide cleanups of the areas and cleaning up areas that are not in our normal collection cycles. We would also like to inform our residents that in the event of a disaster and to best serve our residents and assist our residents, we have taken additional steps this year in securing public welfare and city operations by contracting and having 2 pre-positioned contracts with debris companies to assist the city in its recovery efforts post a disaster. Our mayor, along with our city manager and emergency management coordinator, can authorize the department to initiate these contracts and bring sufficient manpower and equipment aside from city manpower to get our city and our residents back to normalcy. I would like to take this time to also remind our residents of our collection efforts. Residential collection is provided between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. within their designated areas. Residents must keep in mind that plastic carts are used for garbage only. Yard debris, construction material, trash outside the container, and overfilled containers will be tagged and will not be serviced by our normal collection vehicles. And residents may incur additional charges for extra waste services being provided to them. Brush and bulk item collection is conducted once every 5 weeks in their individual brush areas. You can find our brush calendar and area maps on our solid waste page on the City of Edinburgh website. Commercial services are conducted as contracts allow for. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Ponciano Longoria. I'm the Director of Public Works. The Department of Public Works oversees over 30 miles of drain ditch, which we maintain on a yearly basis. This is very, very important for us because this is our outfalls for all the stormwater when an event does happen. We do also maintain over 3,000 linear feet of storm sewer systems throughout the city on a daily basis. We begin on December 1st and we end November 30th every year. It's very important for citizens to make sure they maintain their grass clippings or any other materials outside the curb and gutter and outside our drain ditches. We do get across a lot of illegal dumping in our drain ditches, which we constantly have to go back and clean. Any little thing as far from a candy wrapper to a refrigerator will impact all our drain ditches and our storm sewers. Therefore, it's very important we keep everything clean on a daily basis for any type of rain event. We also do sandbag distributions in case there's a disaster. The City of Edinburgh gives out 5 sandbags, and if you bring your own sandbags, you can take up to 10. You do fill them up on your own. If you're elderly or of special needs, we do help out there. We have 3 locations where we get out sand. One is at the 1301 Doolittle Service Center. The other is at the Town Square, and the third place at the Hidalgo County Annex, where the old Robert Chevrolet is. Thank you.
Morning. The police department asks that you plan, and you plan now. Have a plan in place. Shelters, if you're going to need a shelter, please make sure that you know where the shelter is, which shelter you're going to, how you're going to get to the shelter, and what route you're going to take to it. Evacuation orders. Please do not ignore the evacuation orders. Evacuation orders are set in place for your safety. Do not place yourself or your family in danger. Know ahead where you're going to be going. If an evacuation is ordered, know the route you're going to take, and please let your family and friends know where you will be during this time. The police department does have a safety plan. We will be implementing 12-hour shifts before, during, and after a storm. We will have about 3 times the amount of officers on the road responding to calls. We're going to deal with the regular calls as well as the effects on the storm. It would help us out a lot if we try and keep vehicles off the road. One of the major concerns before, during, and after the hurricane is the traffic. One of our biggest problems during a storm and after a storm are stranding motorists. If you don't have to go out, please do not go out. There are a lot of road hazards after the storms. We have power outages and objects on the roadway that we need to get around. High water is one of the biggest ones. Officers have to take their time to help out people that decide they can drive through high water. Please do not drive through the high water. Find a safe route around the high water and get to where you're going. Barricades also. Barricades are set in place for your safety. If there's no high water after the barricade, just take for granted there's probably another hazard on the other side of that barricade. Find another route to where you're going around the barricade and get there safely. Thank you.
That is just some of our city operations. We have 18 departments that are here to serve the community on a daily basis, and the same as such whenever there's a disaster, that all 18 departments and 22 department heads and city management are here to help service the community during this disaster, and they take on different roles. Some of our partners that we have here today, and we'd like to hear from them in our collaborative efforts. One of them is Oscar Montoya, who is the Emergency Management Coordinator for the County of Hidalgo. So we'll have some words from him at this time.
Well, here we are, hurricane season, and you know, the issue is a lot of times people start asking questions around this time. The bottom line is that, and you heard Chief Snyder talk about it, we're about all hazard here in Hidalgo County and actually the state of Texas and our area as a region. So we're always training, always talking, always discussing. There's 21 cities in Hidalgo County and then about 650,000 residents in rural Hidalgo County that are assisted by our precincts. So the efforts of the county judge's office and the emergency management office for the county is to make sure that all of us are all moving in the same direction. It would be, you know, I'd be amiss to say if it was difficult. It really is not. We have one of the best organized areas in the state of Texas, and I have no problem saying that. Our cities work together, they communicate together, they move in unison. We have our issues now and then. It happens everywhere you go. But we've been able to do things like we passed a bond election. One of the biggest issues is drainage. And as you all know, Hidalgo County was 70%, and those numbers kind of fluctuate, but the bottom line is we were about 70% rural area 40 years ago, and now it's inverted, okay? So our drainage system was made to handle farmland, and farmland is made to keep water. So when you put blacktop in buildings there, now you're developing more water, and it's got to go somewhere. And passing that bond election was a group effort by the judge's office, by the commissioners, and by the cities all coming together in unison to do something that we really needed to do. So we should see some changes to that over the course of the next couple of years. Now, that doesn't change the fact that as a community, everybody's a part of emergency management, and that's the other thing that we try to do together as a group is to send one message. And the message is that the citizens, as much as the departments and the agencies within those departments, are a big part of emergency management. You heard one of the gentlemen talk about a candy wrapper. Well, we have problems with candy wrappers, tires, refrigerators, people throwing their grass clippings out onto the road. What they don't realize is that that's got to go somewhere. So then we start getting calls during the rain saying, my house is flooding. Well, it's flooding because there's a lot of debris inside the drainage system. So we're asking the people to be a part of our plan. We're inviting you. We come together all the time. We're asking you all to be a part of our team, okay? And assist us in the efforts of keeping the streets clean. If you have swells out in the county or you live in a semi-rural area inside the city and you have a little drain ditch in front of your house, don't use it as a storage area. Don't use it to put your trash. Keep that area clean so the water flows. Otherwise, the water that stops there is going to end up in your yard. Okay, so again, the efforts of the cities, the efforts of the county, they're all trying to go towards one goal, but without the help of the citizens, that goal's not going to get reached. So it's very important that you become a part of that. Now, having said that, I want to close with this. Another thing that we're pushing this year is flood insurance. If you bought a house yesterday or 20 years ago or 50 years ago, or it's been in your family since Beulah, it doesn't matter what it did 50 years ago. What matters is, do you have insurance today? And during the storms that occurred last March, we had, what people don't know is we had one in McAllen, everybody heard about it, but we also had it hit north of Edinburgh, and it affected our region. And some of the things that occurred at our office was people calling us and saying, my house was completely destroyed, who's gonna help me? It doesn't work that way. FEMA will come and help us if the area is a complete disaster. Otherwise, the governments cannot help you fix your house. You need to have insurance. Okay, so we're urging everybody, and the regular run-of-the-mill insurance that you get when you buy a home, that is not flood insurance. You have to ask for it. Okay, so we're encouraging everybody in Hidalgo County or whoever's listening to this, I don't care where you live, contact your insurance company that you already have and ask them about flood insurance, and we urge you to out that flood insurance and help us help you. I want to applaud the efforts of the City of Edinburgh for bringing this team together. The good thing is that although my schedule is busy now, there's a lot of cities doing that. We welcome it on behalf of the County Judge's Office. The more we work together, the better. Again, we encourage the residents to come out to anything they talk about, listen to the news, listen to your warnings, and be a part of emergency management. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is actually Edinburghite, and we're proud of that. Is from our state side, which is Department of Public Safety, Captain Johnny Rodriguez. He's the Disaster District Chair for our area, meaning that the city needs something, we go to the county doesn't have it, we go to the state Disaster District Chair, and he is the individual that ramps it up to the state of Texas for additional resources. So, welcome Captain Johnny Rodriguez.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate those kind of words. As you've heard here, we're here today to preparedness for hurricane season. And hurricane season seems to be that it's 6 months out of the year, as we all know. So those 6 months, June 1st through November 30th, comes around pretty quickly every year. And so it's a time where we stress about being prepared. And that's what we're doing here today, as a unified front to say to our citizens and to our communities about being prepared. As you've heard here from other speakers this morning, there's been events around the nation, and especially here within our own state, that a lot of times we can certainly understand, the loss of life due to events that we don't have very little notice on. But when events like what we're gearing up for here today with hurricanes, we have plenty of advance notice. And we should not have any loss of life during hurricane season. We have plenty of notice. We have time to make decisions, to get out of town and get out of town early. And that's one of the messages we want to spread here today. So it's about being prepared, having a family plan, like you've heard, evacuating early, heeding the decisions and the warnings by local officials. If the call is made to evacuate, that you heed those warnings and you evacuate early. But I also want to stress that you don't need for someone to tell you, you don't need a local official to tell you to get out early or to evacuate. You always have the decision, personal decision to evacuate whenever you feel like it's necessary. Hey, the storm is headed our way, all the models and everything. I'm sure Barry will talk from the National Weather Service. We'll talk a little bit about what our threat is this year. But they'll be sending out information. They'll be sending news. There'll be warnings and stuff that go up, and you can make a personal decision to evacuate your family and do it so early. And so all the roads, especially out of here, the Rio Grande Valley, we have several roadways that are evacuation routes, that are designated as evacuation routes. US 77 in Cameron County, US 281 here in Hidalgo County, US 83 from Brownsville all the way to leading to Laredo. All those roadways and all the smaller roadways as well that lead out of the valley. And so any of those will remain open as long as we can afford to have them open. Now, if we were to implement something like the contraflow plan, which we hope that we don't have to do, but it is a plan that is in place should the necessity arise to use that plan, then at that point, some of the roadways would be closed. But prior to that, and again, prior to decisions being made for you, you can have the decision to evacuate early, and we stress that you do that. Another way to prepare is there's websites that are available that you can refer to. The TexasPrepares.org has a lot of information about a personal family plan, about an evacuation plan, about things that you can do to help you prepare for events such as a hurricane, and measures that you can take to better prepare you and your family. I talk about what Chief Snyder talked about. My full-time job is actually serving as the Highway Patrol captain, so I oversee the Highway Patrol operations in the Rio Grande Valley. But during hurricane season, I also put on the DDC hat, which is the Disaster District Chairman hat. And my role there, or the role from the state side, is in the sense of all state assets and all state resources come together, and we're here to support our local jurisdictions. So like Chief Snyder talked about, in an event such as a hurricane is threatening this area, there might be a need that cannot be filled locally or cannot be filled at the county level. Then they turn to the state, and the request comes in for state assistance. We look for that asset regionally in the regional area, and if we cannot, then I transfer that request up to the State Operations Center out of Austin, and we look for those resources statewide. So we're here to support our local jurisdictions, and we're here together today to stress about being prepared, especially during hurricane season. So I want to thank the City of Edinburg for having this. I want to thank the members of the media that are here helping us spread the message about being prepared, and thank you again, Chief.
So what I hear here amongst all of our professionals is, I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about it, I'm planning, we're planning, and regionally thinking and focusing on preparation for our citizens. We have to have a triggering mechanism, which is typically weather or disaster, and in this case with the hurricanes, we're talking about hurricanes. And so we fall to our professionals in the Weather Service to give us guidance on how long do we have, where is it coming from, how big, and what is it that we need to think about in relation to impacts in our community. So we look at our expert here, Barry Goldsmith from the Brownsville Weather Service, and he is the Rio Grande Valley Warning Coordinator, meteorologist, and he's our expert go-to guy for the weather. So let's welcome him here to give us a couple comments.
First, I want to thank Chief Snyder and the whole emergency management crew here in Edinburg, as well as the City of Edinburg for letting us in to be part of this discussion this morning. Just two brief points. The first one is about the National Weather Service and our process. We have the National Hurricane Center located in Miami, Florida, and they eat, breathe, and sleep hurricanes. They are the true experts that help us out here locally. Now, we are located in Brownsville, but our name is Brownsville Rio Grande Valley, so you can count on us to provide the information you need, whether it's Brownsville, Harlingen, or here in Edinburg, to make the best decisions for your citizens here in the area. So we work 24/7. We ramp up our operations significantly before a storm hits, during, and after. And even in a case where a Category 4 or 5 type storm may be approaching Brownsville, which is a lot closer to the coast, we stand ready to serve, whether we're there or whether we're remote. We will be in touch through the event and after the event, so you can count on us to be there. The number one question you're all probably asking is, what's this season going to be like? And the NOAA forecast is for a busy season, but I have to caution everyone that we've had busy seasons the last 19 named storms in 2010, 11, and 12, and the Northwestern Gulf was very quiet. And there's some indications for this coming season that the Northwestern Gulf may be very quiet again. But I have to remind everybody, even though that door may barely be cracked open, it would only take one fitting of the puzzle pieces together to allow the next Beulah to come through that crack and come up to the Rio Grande Valley. So no matter what the forecast, busy or quiet, long or short, One storm is all you need to know about being prepared, which means always being ready for these storms. And here in Edinburgh, as you've heard from all the speakers before, the main threat that we have is inland flooding from rainfall from the sky. And once in a blue moon, like with Beulah, the winds could be a factor too. So no storm surge preparation here, but you have to deal with the flooding rains. And everything that I've heard so far sounds like this community is really ready to go in case you get that. And finally, remember, it's more to the story than the category. After all, Tropical Storm Allison in 2001 created almost 3 feet of rain, which unfortunately caused $9 billion of damage and killed more than a dozen people. And that's bad news in the sense that it was barely a storm when it did all this. So we'll provide information on the potential impact from flooding, whether it's a hurricane, a storm, or even a wave. Again, we stand ready to serve for all impacts and all hazards. And I thank you all for having us here today, and we'll take questions later on.
So coming into the finish of our press conference, the thing that we want you to go home with today is that you see that you have a team of experts, and these are the leaders of their individualized groups that have thought out, planned, prepared for, to the greatest ability of all of our resources to respond to any potential disaster or hazard that occurs here in the valley. In relation to hurricanes, you think about the city of Edinburgh, there has to be over 80,000 people here in our community. There's only 700 employees of the city of Edinburgh, if you put everybody together. The match of people versus the match of the community, it's a great, overwhelming amount of people to service. That's why it takes a collaborative effort of regional partners across the valley. And I will tell you that this relationship that we have today is even more powerful than it ever has been. The fact of the matter is that we have a mayor and council that has demanded that in emergency response that we drop the jurisdictional line and that we're here to service the communities of the Rio Grande Valley. The city of Edinburgh is the 3rd largest city in the Rio Grande Valley. And along with that designation comes responsibility. And I will tell you that the city of Edinburgh and the leaders, starting out with the mayor and council and city manager, along with its directors and city employees, have stood up to that opportunity and are meeting that effort every day, not just during hurricane season. With that being said, there's one piece that is critical to the success of any emergency or any response that we have, other than what we talked about, and that is the collaboration and acceptance of responsibility with our community. Our community has to be engaged in the process of preparation. Our community has to be prepared to deal with their own concerns, with their own families as much as possible, because there are people out there that are not able to help themselves, and a focus is going to be brought to those individuals, along with everybody that is in any dire straits or emergency condition. With that being said, the thing that has come across the past couple of years, as Barry has indicated, is we've had a very active hurricane season the past couple of years, but we've missed the mark. It's gone by us, it's gone over us, it's gone around us and underneath us. And so direct impact other than Hurricane Dolly, the impacts have been moderate to minimal. So people look at it and say, it's probably not going to happen here. Don't take that opportunity, don't take that as an opportunity to drop your guard and to focus your efforts on something else related to prevention. You need to be prepared for your community, you need to be prepared for your family, and most importantly for yourself. We challenge everybody in the community to do so, and we're here to help all these individuals that are here, the City of Edinburgh, the county, the state, and the Weather Service is here to provide your information. There's booklets here that can be given out that give you guidance on how to make your own personal plan. And also, we can do that individually. You call us, you're not going to get a machine. You're going to get a person with a heartbeat that cares about your life, and we will give you that guidance. We want to thank y'all today for being here. We would like to thank our individual entities that have come to stand along with us and support the initiative of the City of Edinburgh and hurricane preparedness, and announcing that today is the beginning of hurricane season. We will have here when we finish, anybody who would like to ask these gentlemen or anybody we have in the audience here that represents emergency response, any questions, we invite you to do so. Thank you very much.